Yo, what is going on, everybody? Collin here with CH Sports, bringing you guys some more disc golf coverage of the Northwest. And today I'll be bringing you guys some commentary from the 2021 Lord of the Flings, held at Blue Lake Disc Golf Course. I am Collin Hayden, and joining me here in the booth for the first time is Mr. Zach Crist. Zach, how's it going?
It is going great. How about you, my man?
I mean, hard to complain. We're watching some disc golf here. Here's our coverage sponsors: Flight Towel, Upper Park Disc Golf, and Resistance Discs. Here's our lead card for the day. We got Hardin Jr. out in the lead at 8 down, putting together a solid round to start. Chris Nelson 1 stroke behind at 7, and then 2 chasers also at 6 down. Huge shout out to Jeremy for running this tournament. He did a great job with it, as well as some other tournaments that he ran over the summer. So be on the lookout for his tournaments coming up in the future. And first to tee off will be Hardin Jr. He's probably one of the only lefties here in the Northwest, and we'll see what his play is here. He's from Portland, Oregon. At the time, he was 984 rated. He's a little higher than that now. Zach, what's your play on this hole?
I don't really have much of a roller game myself like these guys do. I try to push something as far straight as I can and see if I can't get the easy birdie, since we do play this as a par 4.
Yeah, so they play this one as a par 3. That's a great roller there.
That's a great roller from Jason.
Yeah. This one, plays as a par 3 for the Pro Tour. Chris did go roller here in round 1, but rolled at OB, so I think he's probably going with the air shot now with his PD, it looks like. Chris recently got picked up by Team Nava, so huge shout out to him. At the time, he was still sponsored by Resistance, so he'll be throwing a bit of a mixed bag here. And hits pretty much the only tree in the fairway.
Definitely still able to get your birdie there. He got probably near halfway down the fairway, so he should have a forehand up to the pin there.
For sure. And next up, it'll be DJ Herrington out of Salem, Oregon. Definitely a young and up-and-comer here in our Northwest scene. Smashes the disc, forehand and backhand. Sponsored by Discraft and Resistance. Let's see what DJ's play is here. Looks like he's just smashing a hyzer flip backhand down the gap, and that'll work perfect to try and get his 3.
Definitely thinks if he gets a hold of one, he could get to the pin up the middle.
For sure. Yeah, there's probably only a few guys in the field that could get all the way up there with an air shot, and DJ's definitely one of them. This is somebody that I hadn't recorded before this round, and that's James Hafer. A lot of people will know him from Disc Golf Nerds channel. He definitely helps them out a whole bunch. And he also goes for the air shot. I think it was a lot windier for this second round, so a lot of people were kind of straying away from the roller. And Chris going with a backhand up to the basket.
Fairly open with a bit of a low ceiling here, but
yeah, looks like he threw it a little long, but should have a putt there. DJ's pretty much prime time if you're not trying to attack the basket. Right in the middle of the fairway here. And throws kind of a bad upshot. I'm sure he would even say that himself. A little short, little left. And James in similar position here. He'll float one under the basket. Great upshot. Easy 3. Easy birdie to start. And Jason got all the way up here for an eagle look.
This is definitely a birdie you're looking to get to start your round off.
For sure, yeah. And DJ left with about 45 feet to try and save his birdie here. And leaves it a little short. Like I said, I think it was a little windier here, and from what I remember, that putt had a tailwind. So Jason ran his eagle putt and now has a tester coming back to save his birdie. Leaves it a little short.
Speaking of eagles, we did have one. Andrew Nava got this one. I don't remember how he did it. I don't know if he threw it in or if he threw a great roller, but
he threw kind of a combination of the both. He threw a roller that left him with like a 80-foot Nova float in, and yeah, that's how he eagled it. Kirby Snyder also got it round 1, so good for him. And Chris is going to be frustrated, especially Jason leaving the door open with grabbing the par there. Probably wanted to grab a stroke on Jason, but it appears that most of the guys here on the card are actually going to card the 4 to start their day.
Right, not a typical score here. I think it averaged just over 3. I think we have 3.25 here, so a lot of birdies in the field.
Yeah, weird to see from the lead card especially. But James playing the hole pretty much to perfection. Throws the air shot all the way down there. Has a nice, easy approach. And he'll tap in his birdie.
Yes, please.
All right, and here's our scores after hole 1. Like I said, James grabbing the solo birdie. That'll actually pull him within 1. And Jason's still sitting at 8. Everybody else sitting where they were to start the round. And we're stepping up to hole 2. Common plays here are smashing a forehand for the righties, or what James is going for here, underneath this low ceiling into the gap. The other play you'll see here is the big long turnover around the left side. There is a Mando here on the right side, and then both sides also have OB. You'll see the long cut grass will play as OB pretty much on every hole, and then the road will play as OB on the other side. Jason definitely has the advantage here, just getting to throw the lefty spike hyzer. Zach, what'd you go with here?
I think I went FD2 turnover. Didn't quite turn it enough, but didn't go OB either, so could have been worse. This is a very tough turnover hole. You really have to commit to something and put it out there. I mean, we're looking at about 425 feet, you know. If you have the forehand power like DJ does here, it is just a little bit of a flick hyzer, but for the mere mortals, it's a bit of a crush.
For sure. Yeah, DJ, like I mentioned, off of hole 1, definitely can smash both ways, and leaves that one just a little bit low. You know, 3 is pretty common here to especially for the righties. Jason, as a lefty, definitely has the advantage on this hole. But DJ executing his par save, it looks like there. Chris will have a long look for it. Looks like he's content just saving the par there.
3 is not a bad score here when bogey comes into play with OB right and left.
Not at all. And James has a long look here. He threw a great tee shot.
And a great putt.
Oh, wow. Dead center. Probably about 45 feet. And he'll walk that one in there. And he starts off perfect, 2 for 2. And we'll take it to a resistance disc slow-mo replay. Good extension, good follow-through.
That is a super impressive birdie going down the middle there.
Absolutely. And Jason trying to go 2 for 2 on this hole for the weekend. And as a lefty, you would expect it. Had a little bit of help on that putt. The band helping him out there. And then we'll just see a couple of par cleanups here.
Yeah, not very many birdies on the day on this hole, which isn't that surprising. We've got a bunch of guys who can throw their forehands pretty far, which is what you need here.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably the most consistent play, I would say. That turnover line, like you said, it's very tough to get right, and it's even harder to get right in the wind. So, all right, stepping up into hole 3. Scores change a little bit. We got Jason grabbing the birdie as well as James. The other 2 guys will stay right where they were at to start the round still. Stepping up to hole 3, it's a par 4. Probably one of the harder holes on the front 9. The front 9 is definitely the scoring 9. The play is kind of what you see from James here, either the low skipping hyzer or you're going high above it all. Or if you're a lefty, you do this crazy line. This is over OB the whole way. But if you execute it right, you can get it into the perfect landing zone.
Definitely can get it further left than the righties can.
For sure. And Chris going for the high route. Threw this tee shot absolutely perfect in round 1. We'll see where they all end up here for round 2. And DJ definitely not a slouch in the power department. Also going to go for the high route. Hangs it out just a little bit too wide. And finds some cabbage there, but gets kicked down into the center of the fairway. DJ going to have kind of a tricky approach here. Looks like he's just conceding the par there. Maybe we'll have a long look for birdie. And James, honestly, in prime time here. I didn't realize this low route could get all the way up here, but...
This is a perfect spot to be.
Absolutely. And overturns it just slightly, but he'll have probably about a 35-footer. Similar to the look he just had.
This is a tough line right here.
Yeah, Jason threw his tee shot almost too good. And if that doesn't sit down, Yeah, he's pushing the OB on the left side. And Crist also in prime time. You want to be pushing this OB line on the left. I'm sure Crist pushed it a little bit further than what he wanted to do, but he will take the result nonetheless. And DJ left with about 60 feet here for birdie. Wow, gives it a good bid. Little short. And James right back in his money zone here in circle 2.
And cash it. Oh, doesn't quite cash it.
Goodness. And we'll get a slow-mo replay, but for bad reason this time instead of good.
Niced him from the booth. That was a great putt.
Oh, man. Hits it on that high right side, the pro side as people call it. And just slides out on him. And Jason inches from being in bounds. But did scoot OB, and we'll have this one for par. And Jason knocks it down. That's a good putt to hit. You know that Chris is pretty much parked for birdie. And so, you know, definitely good to not be losing 2 strokes to him at least. And DJ will also tap in for par. Chris, like I said, is pretty much parked for birdie.
Yeah, like you said, Jason with a great par there after being OB by inches. It's a bit of a bad break, but just clean up your par there. That's all you can do after that unfortunate OB.
Yep, so Chris going to grab the only birdie there. Everybody else grabbing their pars. That hole can play a little bit, can play pretty difficult. So par is not the worst score on that hole. And we step up to hole 4, probably the must-get hole. And Chris throwing a Malta. This is pretty much what you want to see. Push those trees on the right side and then fade just in front of them. There is OB on the left that is pinned high. And then there's natural OB in those trees on the right. And, yeah, Zach, what are you throwing on this hole?
I believe when I played, I was throwing my my roach, something that just goes straight. If anything, I want to miss right into those trees like you were saying, because if anything, you'll have a putt and left is OB, and it'll usually give you about a 30-footer.
And that is pretty much executed to perfection. We're going to grab another slow-mo replay here. This is how you play this hole.
Definitely. Trusting the disc out there, knowing it's not going to turn over, and just committing to the line.
I believe Jason's throwing the Discmania Logic there. And DJ going with a swirly ESP Challenger SS. And throws pretty much the same shot Jason did, except as a righty. And he will also be... Wow, if this is our farthest shot, we got 4 pretty close shots.
It's a great group of drives.
For sure. And DJ dead center. I don't want to jinx anything, but I think that means we have a star frame coming. Actually.
We got a tough little straddle here.
Ooh. Got it to go. And a couple of mirror tap-ins here for Chris and Jason. And we'll move on to hole 5 after a star frame from the boys on hole 4. As soon as we get Jason's tap-in here.
Great group of drives there.
Absolutely. That's what you want to see from the lead card on what I'm sure is the easiest hole on the course. Like I said, everybody grabs the birdies there. Score's getting tighter. We got 2 guys within a stroke of the lead. But real quick, we'll kick it over to our sponsors. right, stepping over to hole 5. It's a par 4. Pretty much makes a perfect 90-degree dog leg to the right. This tee shot looks pretty good from Crist. You kind of want to push the right side of the fairway. For the righties, it'll be a slow turning shot like Crist just threw. And then for the lefties, you can get a little bit more aggressive and try and push it around the corner, or for a forehand thrower as well.
I was gonna say I've seen some forehands get really far right and put you into a great position up on the hill. You get a really good look at the basket.
Or if you're a lefty that can throw 600 feet, you just throw a spike hyzer all the way around
Not the worst
corner.
play.
Yeah, Jason had probably about 80 feet for eagle in round 1, and in round 2, spoiler alert, he gets even closer. So we'll see where that ended up here in a second. But DJ throws a great shot here that unfortunately rolls OB. And James going to throw a forehand up there. That'll be right around circle's edge-ish.
Bit right, but that's definitely the miss on this green.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have probably about 40 feet right to work with. This is not the miss on this hole. And look at this
Great break there.
Scott Withers will love seeing that one. Chris, known as being the luckiest player in Oregon. Scott gives him a bunch of grief for that, but DJ doing what he can to save his par there.
This is a fantastic drive here.
And Jason has another eagle putt. Gave it a good bit in round 1, and just in front of it in round 2. But I think he'll take two putt birdies on this hole for the weekend. So, and James got up there closer than I thought he did. Only about 28 feet. Dead center. No pictures on the scorecard for a reason. James will not be complaining, and he's off to a hot start, honestly. I mean, if it wasn't for that spit out on hole 3, he'd be perfect through 5 right now. So
that is a fantastic start. That is such a good start.
And Jason able to get a couple birdies in a row. He's got it going now. Really, for Jason, it's just put together a solid round and see what happens. I'm sure he's a one-time world champion, technically. He won a Junior Worlds back in what I believe is 2015 or 14, one of those years in there. So he definitely knows what it takes to show up on the biggest stages. We got 2 birdies there out of our group, and then 2 pars.
Yeah, Jason's got a good start going. 3 down through 5 is no slouch of a round. So if he can just keep that up, we should have a good round going.
And we step up to hole 6, another one of the easier holes on the course. And this is a popular play here from James, the spike hyzer over the right side. This play gets harder and harder as the trees get bigger and bigger on the right side. If you look at pictures from 2014 Worlds, those trees are non-existent. And then there's also this play. Starts off on a good line.
And you know that's not a bad play right there.
Yeah, bottom of the basket's pretty good.
Carding the 1 is typically the way to do it if you can. That was a great throw. Do you know what he threw there? It was
That's his logic again, yeah. Yep, so pretty much just copies his shot from hole 4, except this time moves it, I don't know, about 7 inches to the right so that he finds the bottom of the basket instead of bottom of the pole.
That is such a pretty ace.
Dead center the whole way. And, yeah, you won't see too many aces at Blue Lake, but this is definitely one of the more aceable ones. This one in 4, I would assume. And, yeah, it's awesome to get an ace out here, especially when you're already leading the tournament.
Right, no better time to do it.
And here's DJ going back to his Chally SS here. And that looks pretty solid. Should be about 20 feet or so. Oh, wow. Scooted it a little past the pin.
Looked low enough to sit. I thought it was going to be a bit closer.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you throw, 600 feet like DJ does. And just a little low for DJ. Can't get anything going on the putting green. He's actually had a solid throwing day so far. He just missed a couple of putts. And James to go 5 down through 6. Loses a stroke to Jason with a birdie. And Crist will also card the birdie. We go 4 down on the card, but it's with 2 birdies and an ace. And DJ will tap in his par.
Bit of an unconventional way to average a birdie, but that should be what we're expecting going into that hole.
Yep. So we got Jason with the ace, and then Crist and James carding the 2s there, and DJ with his par. Scores looking pretty tight. We got Jason at 13, James a couple strokes back, and then Crist 1 back of him. Stepping up to hole 7, another eagle opportunity. And here's a score check-in from the chase card. We got Andrew Nava at 7 down through 7 holes. And he's at 12 down total, so that puts him 1 back of the lead as of right now from the chase card.
Great start from Andrew.
And James's drive gets a good kick back to the fairway. Should be able to make something work here.
First 2 tee shots definitely turning a little too much. Crist looks like he might have made the correction here. This is a great shot.
Oh, Crist just peers the line. That's another S-line PD out of Crist. And DJ licking his chops at this hole and just overturns it slightly. I think we did have a slight headwind on this hole, if I remember correctly. So I think that's why some of the drives are getting a little bit overturned.
It's a fairly soft par 5, so none of these guys are necessarily out of birdie range, especially with how far they all throw.
For sure, yep. Yeah, this is one that the power players are looking at. Pretty easy 3, honestly. If you watch the Pro Tour, this is another one that they changed the par. They changed it to a par 4, which for the Pro Tour guys definitely makes sense. You know, you can smash a tee shot down there. Even if you only get 450 off the tee, you still have, you know, a lot of those guys will be throwing a mid in. So, a couple of decent layups from DJ and James there. And Jason, little too low there. Was trying to go for the flex line. And this is prime time from Crist.
Crist definitely has an opportunity here.
Going back to his S-line PD. Asking for it to be in the air. Throws it just a little too low. Had the line perfect. And after a subpar drive, this isn't a bad spot to be to try and save your 4. Just misses that tree and skips all the way down to the pin. So he'll have probably about 20 feet for birdie. Jason going to his ESP zone. And solid approach. And this is pretty much what you want to see from the lead card. Everybody within 20 feet for birdie. Yeah, you got the scores in front of you. What did this hole average?
Let's see. This hole averaged a 4.39, and we had 2 eagles on the day. We had Jesse Bickley and Xander Wabel.
That does not surprise me. Xander is the roller master. I'm sure he went.
Absolutely, he is.
roller up there, I'm sure.
Yeah, lots of birdies on this hole. Majority of the field taking a 4 or better on it.
Yeah, not too surprising. Like we've been saying the whole hole, it's pretty soft par 5. For Worlds, it was actually another about 100 feet, but up into where the OB is now. And, yeah, stepping off a hole 7, we'll see the star frame from the boys. And everybody stays where they were in comparison to each other.
Jason finding a little bit of a gap on this card, but like we saw, Andrew's coming in pretty hot, so definitely can't take anything for granted yet.
For sure. Yeah, we step up to hole 8. For the righties, it'll be pretty much what Jason's doing with his lefty backhand and just parking it, apparently. But most of the righties are going to be throwing a righty forehand here, just like James is. And James just not committing to the shot here. floats it up a little bit and will unfortunately go OB. And so players will have the option to either go to a drop zone or go to where they crossed on this hole. Chris will be throwing a Firebird here. Zach, what'd you go with on this hole?
I went Raptor, and I managed to go long both rounds, which is not the play, as there's OB, what would you say, 60 or 70 behind the basket?
You went all the way to that OB, huh?
Yes, I did. Don't know how.
Well, it's better than coming up short OB, I'll say that. At least you get
Absolutely.
a par putt, at least. And James, going to take his first bogey of the round, unfortunately, but plenty of time to try and get back into it. And still has a little bit of a tester for his bogey. Yeah, James has been solid on the putting green so far. The only putt he's missed was actually dead center, so a little bit unfortunate. But
this hole definitely is not as easy as it looks. It did actually average above par. OB long, OB short, OB right, I believe. So if you're not pretty pinpoint with your forehand or your turnover backhand, you definitely would be taking a bogey.
yeah, for sure. And it definitely plays longer than that 265 that it has. 3 birdies on the hole is actually pretty good. And then the 1 bogey, like you said, there's a lot of trouble to get into. So you'll see quite a few bogeys on that hole. And we step up to hole 9.
Easiest hole on the course. Definitely a musket for all these guys.
I mean, for Jason, it's kind of a hard shot. You have to throw this little slow turnover. For the righties, it's super easy. You just throw a spike hyzer into the landing zone and then have, you know, a zone approach, like 180 feet or so. Chris throws it perfect. But yeah, for Jason, he threw a beat DX rock there to try and get it turned over into the landing zone, trying to replicate this shape that the righties are throwing here with a backhand. And, yeah, we'll see where he ended up. But all 3 of the righties throwing hyzers into the landing zone. Like you said, pretty routine. And Jason is back here where the drop zone is.
Nothing in the way, but he is pretty far back here, so.
For sure. It's still a pretty easy hole because there's just a lot of space to work with. And, you know, the fairway is a little bit even over-forgiving at times. But you know, it's slightly harder for the lefties. Jason and James both throwing pretty decent approaches there. Chris throwing a decent approach as well. And DJ stayed in bounds. Stayed in bounds, but does have an eagle putt technically. Has like, I don't know, probably 100 feet or so, 90 to 100. And he's going to give it a run.
He wanted it.
And a little low. Yep, this is pretty much what you're going to see from most MPO cards. Everybody within, 20 feet for birdie. Jason able to tap his in. And everybody else should do the same here. DJ will tap in, and then we'll see the same from Chris here.
Definitely no surprise to see 4 birdies there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got 4 birdies on the card. Yeah, after our front 9, Zach, what do you think?
I'm liking watching James. He is a good putter.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
look at that front 9. He had 1 bogey, hole 8, that can get anybody. But man, going, 7 through the front 9? Or 6 through the front 9? That's a great start.
Yep, for sure. So we got some solid starts there, and we will see you guys in the back 9. Hey guys, Collin here with CH Sports. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to my coverage sponsors. These videos would not be able to come to life without these people's help, so I really appreciate it. There's plans starting as low as $3 a month, and every single dollar helps grow the channel. If you would like to see your name or business listed in the credits of every single one of my videos, please head over to patreon.com/chsports.